Hello everyone, this is just something I've wanted to make for a really long time. I just want to get some ideas about music theory across to heavy metal musicians who haven't had the chance to study in a proper academic institution. A few people have asked me what's the best way to learn theory, and it's actually really hard to answer that, because even if you go to college you're going to learn a lot of stuff that you'll probably never really have to use. And I think the way a lot of metal musicians are going, learning guitar theory is a really bad thing to do. There's no guitar theory, there's just music theory. So learn the basics and then decide what you want to do after that. For heavy metal, I mean, for a lot of stuff really, you don't really have to know a lot of theory, but it's just more about practice and training your ears to hear, to be able to analyze the music when you hear it. So if you hear a song you really like, you should be able to know what's going on, so then you can take those ideas and use them in your own songs. So the aim is of this really brief tutorial just to talk about detecting the numbers of the scale that you're hearing. So that applies to the melodies and leads and licks and whatever that you're hearing, but also to the chords that lie underneath them. I won't talk about keys here because it's not really that important, just to get things going. So to start off with working with numbers, there are 12 semitones that you can use, and after you've... Sorry, I'll start again. In Western music, the smallest interval you get on an instrument is a semitone. So that means if you play one note on the piano and play the note immediately adjacent to it on the piano, the difference between those two pitches is called a semitone. And also if you're on a guitar, if you play a fret and then you play a fret above it, the difference between those two pitches is a semitone. So that's the smallest building block we're using. Now if you play a pitch and then you go up 12 semitones, you play another pitch which is actually the same note as the first pitch you played. So they sound pretty similar, just one's higher. In music theory that's called an octave, so one's higher, but you can kind of tell they're the same notes. And what we're trying to do is train our ears. So when I was learning to get that octave, I was using Rage Against the Machine, have a really famous riff which is just an octave difference. I'll just try and find it. I think it's Bulls on Parade. So if you hear, you need to train your ear so you can hear what the intervals are. That's basically all you have to do in order to be able to analyze music. So let's hear this. Yeah, that's the riff. So you can hear one note's higher than the other. It's like da da da. So the higher note is 12 semitones higher than the lower note. So you just need to really listen to that a lot of times, and then you get to hear that interval. So that's easy. That's called an octave. So if you play an open string on a guitar and then you play the 12th fret, what you're hearing again is that octave. So if you just messed around on those, on the open string, the 12th fret, you should be able to make a riff that sounds pretty similar to what we just heard. So that's easy, the octave. Now we need to figure out what we're doing in between those notes, and that's where it becomes a little bit more tricky. So firstly, I said that a semitone's the smallest interval you get on these Western instruments. Now if you talk about an interval which is double in size of that, so 2 frets or skipping out one adjacent note on the piano, that's called a tone. So we have semitones and tones. Now when you hear about things like modes and major and minor scale, what we're actually talking about is 7 pitches, like distinct pitches that exist within that range of 12 semitones, and these 7 pitches are related by the intervals that you get, all made up of tones or semitones. So in a major scale, you'd play a note and then you'd go tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, and that would get you back to the octave. So when I say tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, I mean you'd play a note, then you'd miss a tone to get to the next note. So you'd play an open string, miss a tone, go on to the second fret, play that, then miss another tone, so go on to fourth fret, play that, then semitone, so just move up one fret. So you go like that, and those different interval patterns are what make the different modes. So you get all the church modes that guitar theory likes to use, but that's a total waste of time. But originally, those Renaissance composers, if you hear Renaissance music, so that's before Baroque, really old music, like Palestrina and composers like that, use those old church modes, and so those modes are a different arrangement. They're not tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone. There'll be something different like tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, whatever. So that's what we're talking about. Now, in recent times, there's the major and minor scale. Now, as it happens, almost all heavy metal is based on a natural minor scale. So it's really important to know that one, and I recommend using that as your base for all analysis if you're into metal. And actually it goes through a lot of pop music and stuff like that as well. So I'd say 90% of the music you're going to hear if you're a metal fan is going to be based on this scale, so this is the one to learn. So the tone semitone interval pattern here to get from your starting notes, and it can be any note, up to the octave above, is tone semitone, tone tone semitone, tone tone. I'll just draw that on a piece of paper so you can see it very clearly. So it's tone semitone, tone tone semitone, tone tone. So if you start on an open string on a guitar, you go up a tone, so second fret, then you go up one more fret to third fret, and that's the semitone. Then you go up another tone to fifth fret, then you go up another tone to seventh fret, then you go up a semitone to eighth fret, then you go up another tone to 10th fret, and then your final tone takes you from 10th fret up to 12th fret. So that's the order of the natural minor scale that we're going to be using for all analysis in these initial tutorials. Well, I'll make this one, and if anyone's interested I can make more. So that's what you need to know. Now, as I said, so those fret numbers, I'll use guitar just because it's easier for a lot of people, would be open string, second fret, third fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, and 12th fret is your octave. So now when we're talking about numbers and a scale, we use number 1 to begin the scale. So your open string is number 1. Now the next note on that scale is going to be number 2, so fret 2 is going to be number 2. Your third note on that scale is going to be number 3. Now the third note on that scale arrangement I just went through is also fret 3. So we've got, so far, the scale goes, the first note of the scale is open string, the second note of the scale is second fret, the third note of the scale is third fret. Now again we jump up to 5th fret, so the fourth note of the scale is 5th fret. Now the 5th note of the scale is 7th fret. The 6th note of the scale is 8th fret, the 7th note of the scale is 10th fret, and then once we get up, there's no 8th note of the scale because the 8th note's just the octave. So just to recap, we have first note of the scale is open, second note of the scale is 2nd fret, third note of the scale is 3rd fret, fourth note of the scale is 5th fret, fifth note of the scale is 7th fret, sixth note of the scale is 8th fret, and 7th note of the scale is 10th fret. So that's the base scale that you need to learn. So everything you hear, or I mean almost everything you will hear, will be possible to be analysed according to those set of intervals. So when you hear a metal song, you should be able to put notes of the scale onto that. And I was talking about guitar frets, but you can totally ignore that. The sound of the scale goes like da, so say that's the starting note, da, but again it's da, 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 da. So in numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't matter what note you start on, the important thing is the interval differences. So they're like locked differences, and then you can move that framework up and down to any pitch. So let's see how it actually works in real analysis. I've got a couple of things on my jukebox that are really good for this initial lesson. So the first is a song by a band called Aural. It's on my t-shirt. Just the starting riff's really cool, but it's quite easy for analysis. So let's just listen to that. Hang on, it didn't start properly. Okay, so it goes dun dun da 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 dun dun da 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 dun dun da 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 da. All right, so that's you start the scale up on the first note in almost all cases, but you know, I mean, just almost everything you're going to hear starting on the first scale, especially in the bass note, is what you need to listen for. So. And if it doesn't, you can kind of figure it out once you get the feel of the scale. But here is the first note. So da is our first note, so that's 1. And then again our scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 1, 5, 3, 3, 4, 4, 1, 5, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 5, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 2, 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 1. So that's how that goes. So I'll just sing along with it. 1, 5, 3, 3, 4, 4, 1, 5, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 5, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 2, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 3, 4, 4. It's the same again. 1, 5, 3, 3, 2, 2. 1, 5, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so that's what we're doing there is analysing the melody, and I don't know what key that's in, I haven't got perfect pitch, but if you use those intervals I talked about before and make a scale starting on that initial pitch, whatever that is, you should be able to play that with the numbers I sang and figure out that that's actually what's going on. And I'm not sure if it's an open string on a guitar, so you might have to start somewhere else and count your scale up again in terms of frets. But that's how it's done, and really any melody you hear, and as I said, more than 90% of everything you hear in metal is going to be based on this scale. You should just be able to find the numbers of what you're hearing and then once you know those numbers, you can use those patterns in your own songwriting, and I think that's what's really important to be able to do, is just to analyse stuff that you hear and take what you want, but it's important to know what you're hearing, and that's what I'm just trying to get across in this little tutorial. So now let's just listen to that again, and this will be basic for some people, but it might not be for others. So that lick that I just analysed, that happens twice, and if you hear it the second time it sounds different. So let's hear what happens. Okay, so we had, it sounded different the second time the lick came round, and the reason is that the chords underneath it are changing. So your rhythm guitar is playing different things, although that lead is repeating the lick. So let's just go from where the chords come in. Now the first time round there was no chords, but actually your brain's just filling in, well it is with mine, just filling in that chord with the root chords, so that's number 1 on the scale. Chords actually become slightly more complicated in some situations because they're triads, but I'm just going to be treating the whole chord as just one note, which power chords kind of are. I mean, they're not, but they sound like they're just one note, but really powerful. So let's just treat all those chords as one note underneath, one note sounding simultaneously below the lead. So yeah, your brain fills in chord 1, so I'll just sing it as if it is. Dun, bum. You know, that's the chord your brain's putting there. Dun. And now it goes down. Da 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 da. And now if you analyze those notes, dun dun dun. That's 7, 7, 6 on the scale, and remember 8 is an octave, so that's like 1. So the chord sequence there is, it comes from 1, and then let's see exactly when it comes in. So 7 coming in there, now 6, 7, 1. 7, 6. I can't really sing that note. 6, 6, 7, 6, 6, 7, 7, 6, 6 again. So once we hear that the third time, just coming in there, you can hear, you can verify all this by counting up those intervals again. But the bass note, the chord, is number 6 the third time that riff comes. So you can hear how it sounds different. There, that's 6 in the chords, and now 6. That's where it starts. Up to 1, 7, 6, 6, 6, 7. All right. So listen to the whole thing again. Your brain's just putting in duh, which is number 1. You could just have someone holding a chord over it, 117, 117, 17, 6, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 6, 6, 7, and now the third time around 6. So the flavor's changed. And with chords, that's the way it is. It's not, a lot of the times, because sometimes it can get really complex, the amount of parts that are going on. I mean, rarely, but sometimes. So with chords, it's really more of a feeling, and it's really good to know those different flavors of chords. So I just heard 1, 6, and 7, which are actually like the primary chords, in classical music as well. Well, you'll learn they're 1, 4, and 5, but that's in a major key. In a major key, this would actually be 6, 4, 5. But in a natural minor key, which we're in now, it's 1, 6, 7. But those 6, 7 are well known as being like real root chords. The only thing and when I say root chords, I mean strong chords compared to the root. The only thing we're doing differently here is we're starting on the root of the natural minor. That's the only difference. I'm getting sidetracked a bit, but if you did learn classical music theory, you will learn in a major key 1, 4, and 5 are the strong chords. And actually, in classical music theory, they'll say in a minor 1, 4, and 5, and in the minor scale are the strong chords. But in metal, it's 1, 6, and 7. I'm just saying those 6 and 7 are actually equivalent to 4 and 5 in a major scale. But don't worry too much about that right now. The main thing is that you learn the sounds of those chords. So just to continue with this theme, I'm just going to go to one more song before I finish. which is very similar kind of idea, and it's Heaven Shall Burn, Godiva. So there's just one part which I want to go through this. Oh, wrong song. Alright, this riff coming up now. Okay, so the riff's on the high. That's the lead. So that's like, you know, if you say if we take that as our root note, which it is. So we have 1. Again, I'll sing up the scale as far as I can go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 1. Yeah. So now if we're using that scale, so again the riff goes the lead. So that's 1 3 2 1 2 1 3 1 2 3 and then 3 5 4 sorry 3 5 4 3 and then so hang on, that was so that's 3 5 4 3 4 3 5 6 5 4. So I'll sing with the numbers, it'll be easier. So 1 3 2 1 2 1 3 1 2 3 3 5 4 3 5 3 4 6 5 4. So that's what you need to be able to do, just to put those numbers to what you hear. And again, I don't have perfect pitch, so I don't even know what those notes are, but I do know the numbers, and that's what's important, because that's what gives you the flavour of the music. So again, we'll hear it and I'll sing along the numbers, and again you can verify all of this on your guitar, but again those fret numbers I was talking about before might not apply. They only apply if the first note is an open string. Otherwise you have to use those intervals to find your own scale on the guitar. So let's hear it again. 1 3 2 1 2 1 3 1 2 3 3 5 4 3 5 3 4 6 5 4 1 3 2 1, and then it repeats. Okay, and again we've got the same thing there, which is that the chords change. So let's now listen to the chords so we know what's happening in the lead. Hang on, here it comes. So that's chord 1. 6 3 7. So those chords, that whole chord sequence covered 2 repetitions of the lead. So just go through that again. I'll sing along as best I can. One, there's the chord 1, and now the lead's finishing the first time. 6 6 3 7. Actually, I'm saying 7, and I think the chord is 7 there, but you're hearing a 2 there, not a 7 in the bass. So let's do it with a 2. Actually 7, I believe the chord there is 7 and an inversion, but I don't want to get quite into that yet. So let's go again, and it might not be an exact inversion anyway, just a suggested inversion. So let's go again. 1, so you can hear the bass, it's a lot lower than I'm singing, the numbers are the same. 1 6 3 2, and then back to 1. So hopefully that's shown you that when the chords change, you know, you can keep the same note. And now you know those chords. 1 6 3 7. It's a very common chord sequence. So now, if you're ever writing a song, you can just find those numbers on the scale, play those chords on the rhythm guitar, and then put your own melody over the top, and then you know, it's that easy to make a song that sounds cool. So you know, I someone's found that useful, and you know, I'm happy to do more and make it more clear if anyone's interested. If you are, or say if like more than 10 people either like this video or comment that they want more, then I'll be happy to do it more clearly, but I didn't want to spend too much time on it if no one's even going to watch it. And also, if there's any songs you're having trouble with analysing, just feel free to put them as a comment on the video or something, and I'll try and help as best I can. I really hope that this works for some people, because I think heavy metal musicians are the most innovative and hard-working people around, really, in modern music anyway, some of them. But I just think the theoretical knowledge is really lacking, and actually there's not much theory here. It's more about practicing the small amount of theory that you can learn in just 5 minutes, but you still have to know it and to be able to learn it and practice it. So hopefully that's put someone on the right path, and if it has, best of luck with your songwriting. Thanks a lot, see you, bye.